All right, well, welcome back to session 2 of our adult education during this month of July. Last week, I gave a little fervorino, a little mini sermon on our vision for our church parish, and I'm going to continue that during each of these sessions that we have this summer. Last week, we spoke about why what we're doing right now is an essential part of parish life. To be a disciple means to be a learner. That's what that word means when you look at the Greek. To learn is to be a disciple. And we spoke about how it's important that we be intentional about that. We don't just sort of wait around for opportunities to come to us, but we're intentional about it. We're disciplined about it. We seek it out. We go about it in a structured way. And it's something that's lifelong. We don't grow out of it, after we're confirmed. It's not like we're sort of free of learning, but that this is something that's intentional, disciplined, lifelong for every Christian, for every Catholic. At Father Malin's parish, the book that I was speaking about last week, Divine Renovation, is this book that Cherie and Karen and I have been reading. At Father Malin's parish, he articulates expectations for his parishioners. So as a parish, what we expect of one another. And one of those expectations is that we would participate in one program of faith formation every year. So this isn't him imposing these expectations on his parishioners. It's us as a family, what we expect of one another. And we know that every healthy relationship has those expectations. Like to be in a relationship with someone is to have expectations of one another. Well, tonight I'd like to talk about another essential aspect of parish life, and that is community. One of our new initiatives last year at St. Leo's was Under the Yoke. It was an opportunity for fellowship following all of our Sunday Masses twice a month from September to April. And it's really a very simple thing. It involves refreshments, some tables for the refreshments, and most of all, the people. And it's not just an opportunity to socialize, but an opportunity to grow in relationship with one another, an opportunity for community. Father Malin, in his book, he proposes that for Sundays to be fruitful, the church parish needs to provide time to gather, celebrate, and connect after the Sunday Mass. So in order for us to be a parish that grows, in order for us to be a parish that is vibrant, those opportunities need to be provided. One of my great joys is when after Mass I see people gathering at the grotto. One of my great joys is when I see people gathering in the parking lot, when I'm locking up the doors in church and there's still people visiting in church. It's a sign that we are beginning to live that life of community. The Eucharist, Sunday worship, is not a private experience. It's not an anonymous experience, but it's the gathering, the celebration of a family. Father Malin, in his book, he calls us to reject anonymous Christianity. Sort of the Christianity where I sneak in and I sneak out. He even uses stronger language than that. He says to go to war with anonymous Christianity. I've used this example before in my homilies. So the church is not an airplane. When you think about an airplane, we all have the same goal. We're all in the same place, but we're not that interested in getting to know each other. And we actually kind of get upset when the passenger next to us talks too much. That's not the church. The church is not an airplane. She is a family. The church is a place where we can be known by one another, where we can be loved by one another, we can be challenged by one another, and encouraged by one another. Father Malin uses an example, an image in his book. He says, what would visitors from a very different culture, or even visitors, say, from outer space, if they happened upon our church community, what perception would they have of our community? When he gives talks about community, he uses the theme song from Cheers. where everybody wants to know your name, where everyone's glad you came. And he says oftentimes our church community offers sort of the opposite of that. I don't really want to know your name. I don't care if you came. Your troubles are your own problem. Get out of my way. Sometimes our church community can give that impression. And so this is one of the reasons why we have an event such as Under the Oak. And it's a 10 to 15 minute gathering, but hopefully by this regular event in the midst of our parish life, our fellowship will sort of become more intense. It'll bubble over and we'll have fellowship even outside of Under the Oak, even outside of Sunday worship. Gallup, we've heard of them, they do the polls. They actually do a poll on church life. They do a poll on the health of Catholic church life. And here are some of the questions they ask to determine whether a Catholic church parish is healthy or not. In the last month, they asked persons to answer this question. In the last month, I received praise from someone in my church parish. Aside from family members, I have a best friend in my church parish. Someone in my church parish encourages my spiritual growth. So we can see that as something to strive toward. We may have had that experience, but we may not have had that experience. But ideally, that's something we should all be working toward. That every member of St. Leo's Church Parish could come and be affirmed, at least monthly. That every member of St. Leo's Church Parish could come and find a friend. That every member of St. Leo's Church Parish could come and be encouraged in his or her spiritual growth. These gatherings of community are not only huge for us, sort of when we think of ourselves as a church family, but they're also huge for evangelization, and they're huge for the growth of our parish. Most people join a church because of a sense of belonging or a sense of community. They go to a church and they say, wow, I have a home here. Wow, I'm welcomed here. I belong here. And so these moments can be an opportunity for that. Under the Oak can be an unintimidating place, a safe place for folks to discover who we are at St. Leo's and what we're about. So last week we articulated the expectation of faith formation. That faith formation is an essential part of who we are as Catholics, as parishioners here at St. Leo's. And this week I articulate that expectation of community. That we, the people of St. Leo's, expect each other to build up our community. That we expect each other to reach out and to connect with others. That we ourselves would first become serious about our church community, and that we would then invite others into that. Both strangers and parishioners, please come and invest in this community. Build it up, reach out, connect with others. So faith formation and community, two essential aspects of who we are at St. Leo's. That's really what this is. This is faith formation, what we're doing right now, and this is community, what we're doing right now. So we'll continue to devote ourselves to these nights and look forward to what the Lord has in store for us. Amen.